Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to all who land here. Today, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm actually creating a tag for a gift. And this tag is for a Secret Santa gift for a family member. So I'm creating this tag with different elements that aren't necessarily Christmas related. So you are going to get to see me create this tag. And these elements, let me see if I can't get that book so I can show you where these elements come from. Now this is Gothic Deco Dreams. It's an ephemera book by the Gingerbread Prince. And the wonderful lady that runs this company has created this company and is the artist behind it is Lisa Wang. So she also has a YouTube channel, and I will put her handle in the description as well as the title so that you can find her and her other artworks. Now she does have these books on Amazon. So I'll do a quick flip through. I've already made my own pocket so that I can put my elements that I've already fussy cut that I'm not quite ready to use. So she's got double-sided pages. And these are some elements I thought I might use, but I have not yet done so. So the elements I'm going to use are already cut and set aside. But you can see the beautiful artwork of some of the elements that are left. And so she gives you a step-by-step guide of materials. If you want to make your own journals, she gives you those materials and the cutouts and the instructions. And her videos are tutorials as well as very enjoyable to watch. So you can see how beautiful the artwork is. And you can choose the front of the page or the back of the page. And that's what makes it difficult, is choosing which side you want to use. Now there are times where you will cut off a piece, and that piece that you cut off allows you to actually use a back piece. So there are different images and different sets of ephemera that you can fussy cut, that you can use for your projects. Just beautiful things, beautiful ladies. You can use these in journals. You can make tags, just like I'm going to be doing. You can decorate journal books outside of them. She gives you many different options to play with. And the artistry is just So detailed and beautiful. I'll give you a closer up look of some of those details. She does have her books on Amazon, and so I will be providing a link for her books that she has. She has many different books. So if you don't care for this style, she has many different styles. So you can see all the different ephemera that you can fussy cut. And the different patterned papers that you have access to. Everything is just so beautiful. It's hard to decide. I took several hours of cutting things out that I loved because my family member that I'm making this tag for, her favorite color is this peacock blue color. So what I'm doing is gathering materials that have these colors in them, but that are also complemented by the aquas and the teals. So you can see how beautiful that patterned paper is. So this is Lisa Wang's artwork. I've done a flip through of several others of her books that do have videos if you're interested. You want to see some of the things that that I've already gone over. What I'm going to do, this is the lady that I have chosen to put on this tag. And what I've already done is chosen my background paper. It's a bit of a cardboard type style for strength. So how I got this symmetrical is I folded it. I didn't crease it. I just folded it and then I cut. And then when I open it up, there's the symmetrical top. So what I will do is I'm actually going to punch a hole in the top. And then I actually have some ribbon that I'm going to use. And I have to figure out where I put it, but that's okay. I will be using some gold ribbon that's got some wire to it that I will affix to the hole. But before I get into building this, I'm going to do some prep work. As you can see, I've got some jewelry pieces that I'm going to be using, but not every one of them is going to have a blue bling on it. So what I'm going to do is decide which ones I'm going to put the bling on. And I'm going to do that first with this glue. This glue you can get on Amazon. It is less expensive and you can get multiple tubes of it. It's called Tombow Mono Aqua Liquid Glue. It's got a fine tip and it's got a broad tip. I usually use the fine tip. But this glue, if allowed to tack, will glue down or adhere embellishments to these jewelry pieces. Now, these are jewelry foundation filigree pieces that I got on Amazon. I got a packet of them. And so there's many different styles. And I've gotten so many that I've had to put them in a bowl. This came with a very large pack, and it did not cost me much at all. And this is for jewelry makers. So they're the flat bases that people will use to make jewelry. But I like to use them in my journal pages because they add that much of a dimensional piece to it. So you've got many different styles. You've got flowers. Some of my videos, you have seen these. And you can add your rhinestones to them anywhere you want. And so that's what we're going to do first to get that to start tacking. So that when I add it to the tag, it will have some strength to it. And so I'm going to go ahead and decide which pieces are going to have. I'm not sure that I'm going to use that one, so I'm going to set it aside. This piece is most likely a definite, and I've got 2 of those. And I've also got 2 of the corners, as well as these that I'm not going to put rhinestones on. So I've got this little beauty that I may or may not use. I may use up top, right here near the hole that I'm going to punch. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. So I'm going to get started by tacking those down. And I'm going to definitely do a blue stone on these girls right here. So I'm going to put enough glue. These rhinestones do have a glue backing, but it's not one that stays permanent. And I just dropped my scissors, so bear with me. So I'm going to separate these out because they're hooked together like a chain. I got these at the dollar store, and it is worth it to cut these up for the price. I'm going to cut several. So I'm going to allow these to tack while I'm working on other things. When allowed to dry overnight, this glue is wonderful. I'm going to put this back on the backing until I decide if I want to use it, as well as this one. So I will decide. I know I want the blue. I don't want to do too much bling. As far as I don't want to put a rhinestone on everything because that can become a little bit too much. I don't want it to look circusy. Okay, so I'm going to start with going ahead and doing, as you can see, there's a white edge to this that I have cut out. And so I'm going to go ahead and use some black soot. And you see how that makes it disappear? Because I want that to go into the background so it's not so glaring. Now this is the first time since I started doing journals that I've ever created a tag for a gift. Now this is going to be a very large tag, but it's something she can keep. It's not something that's just going to be thrown away with the wrapping. And it's the first time I've ever created something for a family member since I got started. So I have some elements that I want to use here that I want to place. And I am going to go pretty close to the top, so I will need to cut some things off. And that's okay. I don't mind doing that. So I'm just going to start placing some things, staying away from this area here where I will punch the hole. So what I may do is I may go ahead and punch that hole so that I stay away from it and not get too close. Okay. And right now I'm just looking at placement for what I want to put down. And some of the elements that I have, I may use. And some I may not. I've even gotten some little mini snowflakes that I've cut out of the pattern paper. I can either use that side or I can use the white side, which is a nice choice to have. And I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing, so you're actually going to get to see this process. I've got elements that I thought were beautiful that I wanted to add. And I've got little strips of some of the pattern paper that I may want to incorporate, something like that. So, and then of course I have these jeweled elements as well, and they're already starting to tag. So let me start getting some of this down so that I can move forward. Okay. These colors are such a delight. They're so beautiful. Now, you see this white edge here. I've already used the black soot on this edge, so that's why you don't see the white. I already played with it. And I've got Snowflake trying to get in on the action. I may even use this little scrap. I'm being very strategic if I use scraps, because I don't want this to be a scrappy tag. This is a gift. And I hope that she will want to save it. She's never received anything like this from me before. So this is the first. So I'm excited about it, because she's never seen this kind of artwork from me. She's seen my drawings, my pencil drawings and things like that that I've done over the years, but she's never seen my journal artwork. I don't want any bubbles or any ripples. some glue. So I do have a wet wipe that I'm going to get rid of the excess glue. Okay, now comes the really intense building part. Because I don't want to cover up the beauty of this lady. And I don't want to get too high above this line right here. Because what I may do is do some bling on this as well. So we'll see how that works out. So I want to bring this line in balance with this one. So if I do go up above, or what I mean is, if I do go outside this line, I can just cut it. So that's something that I want to decide if that's what I want to do. So with Lisa's images that she's created these books of, she shows you how she puts together images, and it's such a beautiful way that she builds everything. But she does encourage you to do your own thing, and she delights to see the different ways that people use her materials. So I'm bringing this straight to the edge. I'm building for balance more than symmetry. Now, what's fascinating about this process is I've already played with some of this for placement, but this is not going the original way that I had decided. And that's the beauty of this art, is you start out thinking you're going to do one thing, but when it comes time to actually doing it, you do something else. And I've got these little corners. If I don't use them for this particular project, I will use them for another, because I do save my scraps. These two pieces next to each other are a little bit too ornate. There's too much going on there. Even though I thought it looked good originally. I may not use the second one. I'm going to set it aside and see how I feel about it. This one I'm lifting up before it fully tacks, because I noticed that it was crooked. So I had it up above here, but I believe I want to change my mind and bring it down to the edge. And that's still crooked. Okay, there we go. I'm also being very aware of placement, what I'm covering up, and what I'm revealing. Sorry for that bang. I've got an empty glass jar that I keep for water when I do watercolor. Okay, now I have to be very strategic here. Don't be afraid to cross over your other images. Now I see something that I may not want to do because I originally wanted to put that there, but I can put it over it. And that's what I'm looking at, is if I place this here, can I still put this gold piece here? And I can, and it adds a whole lot of interest with this coming out from underneath. So that was a choice that has worked out. And I'm actually changing my mind and moving this up a bit because I want to keep that somewhat uncovered. So I'm moving this flower out just a bit. And it's okay to have things come off the edge and be partially hidden by the edge. It adds interest to your pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and place this down. And it does still look beautiful even though it is over the flower itself. It is beautiful. I have to, right now, I'm fighting the temptation to add another rhinestone. I want to, but at the same time, I'm going to avoid it because you want some straight gold pieces as well. Not everything has to have a rhinestone. And so you can see that that's already starting to adhere itself. And I have to be careful at this stage. See, it wants to move around because I have to let it tack. But I want to make sure that it's straight. And pin down. So what I may do is I may weight it. I'm going to weight it with that. I'm going to use that to weight it for just a few moments. Okay. And I don't want to cover up all the black because the black paper in itself is beautiful. So I do want some of that showing through. Now this piece right here is what's called a bridge piece. It's my term for it because it bridges this piece and this piece and this piece. And I'm moving this up because I did not want to cut off part of her head. So you're always wanting to think about placement, like what does it do to the image you're putting it on? And it was slightly covering up part of the top of her head. Now what's wonderful about using a weight that's made of glass, I've also used my ceramic leaf plate, which is this one right here because it's pretty heavy, is it does not tack to the glue. So it doesn't lift up the image as you're trying to weight it down. And I'm just going to be playing with other pieces. And that is tacked down. Okay. Let's see what else I want to do. And then I also want to keep these girls in remembrance of where I want to place them. And you see how this one is going over the flower? That's perfectly fine. But I want to make sure that they're lined up. I want to bring this right to the edge. This one is still wanting to move. So after I give this several hours to dry, it will then start to be tacky and will gain strength the longer it dries. And here's another bridge piece. And I don't mind that it's going up above this line of both sets of papers. And it's going outside of that border. That's quite all right. That is doing that. In my eyes, anyhow. And I may need to put more glue on these little rhinestones to get them to tack. Or they may just need a little bit more time. As I've worked with them, I've kind of shifted them out of place. I want them smack dab in the middle. There we go. I've had so much fun building this, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me put these elements together. And you see how this piece is wanting to slide underneath this gold piece? I'm going to actually let it. I'm going to allow it to do that because that looks good. Okay, I see the wired ribbon that I do want to use. And I'll show you that here. It's called foil twist wire. And for 99 cents, I thought I'll try it. I don't mind playing with something that I've never played with before. Now, the trick is how to get it. There we go. Maybe. How to get it undone. Okay, there's that piece. I don't want that crimpy crimpy section. So I will use that as a scrap on another piece. I want this to be beautiful. And not look like it's a part of, you know, little pieces of junk that I may have laying around from another gift. And I'm just eyeballing this. I didn't measure it to any certain extent, because this little cord here, or this little area, is not really going to be attached to anything specific. So she can have it as a decorative item, just as it is. And I'm winding this around so it can add interest and almost look like a piece of jewelry itself. So there's the little handle. Okay, so that's done. Now, thank you for indulging me on that. Now what I want to decide is I am going to do this. I am going to add a blue rhinestone to that one. And it's lost its sticky, so I'm just going to glue it down. Okay, fingers it is. Yeah, Mr. Tweezers is not working for me today. He does work better on the smaller rhinestones. The best thing about these jewelry blanks is they are moldable. So if you've got a curved surface or you want to curve them, they actually are bendable. So you can, because these are used in jewelry making, you can bend these, you can mold them, you can put them around a round ornament because they are bendable and pliable. And these these are metal, so they're really beautiful to work with. Okay, I'm going to get some of the snowflakes down. And I have to decide where I want to place them. And I've got a curious kitty that's wanting to play with my wire. So let me cut him off a piece so he can play. And then he likes anything that looks like ribbon or wire. He loves to play with it. And if you would like to see him, there he is right there. That's Oscar. And that's the other side of my desk. I'm going to lift you guys up so you can see the whole tag while I'm still working on it. Okay, so I want to add these little snowflakes in strategic places, and I like the pattern paper. I do like the white side as well, so I just have to decide which side I want to use, and I think I want the pattern side. I don't want to add it to anything blue because it's got a lot of blue in it. And I can even add one out of this turquoise paper. And I've got some, this is the paper that I was punching them out of. So I have more. I just have not located them where I put them. So let's see if they are under my workspace. No. I've probably knocked them off. Here's one. Somehow. Here's another one. Okay. Sometimes I shuffle things around and they get misplaced. I don't want to put too many. I don't want to put too many flowers. So I'm going to save this for another journal. I don't want to do too much from what I've already done. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the tag for my Secret Santa gift for my family member whose favorite color is the peacock blue. I hope you have enjoyed this process as much as I have. This was very fun to build and to figure out how I wanted to do it and how I wanted to do the tag part of it. the placement, it did not end up anything like I had started or had previously thought out. And that's what makes it so beautiful, is when you come up with a totally different concept than the one you originally had decided upon. So thank you so much for joining me in this project, and I will see you on the next one.